All right, I did it. I just voted. And I love the process. It was so easy. I mean, it took me about 10 minutes to get inside. Everything's electronic. You can even like vote. And then if you want to change your mind, you can go back, redo it. I love that because before I would like click the box and I was like, oh, I didn't want that. Very, very efficient. And whole thing took about, I don't know, 10 minutes, if that, because I really tried my best to look at each initiative. I did research beforehand. There was a great website that abc.com put out where it like broke down all like everything that was on the ballot and pros and cons and who's voting for and who's not. And it lets you make an informed decision on your own. And I didn't feel overwhelmed. Often I go into these things feeling a little overwhelmed. So stay tuned because I'm going to break down the items that are on the ballot and hope it helps so that you feel a little more comfortable going in there and making a solid decision. Gotta vote. Stay tuned. All right, guys, my people out there, it's time to vote. You gotta get out there and vote. Let's do it. You know, a lot of people think, what does my one vote matter, right? But what does one finger matter? But 5 fingers makes a mighty fist. All right. Basically, it starts at Proposition 14, it goes to Proposition 25. Proposition 14, it says it's funding for stem cell research. So 16 years ago, they allocated $3 billion for stem cell research. They're out of money. Now they want $5.5 billion. And the people for it are saying, we need it. You know, we're looking into Alzheimer's, not Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's. Looking at Alzheimer's, we're looking into, you know, stem cell research, dementia, a lot of, you know, the brain. And we need the money. People against it are saying, yeah, but we don't really know what you're doing for this money. We need to have a better idea of how you're allocating it because it seems to be going by pretty quickly. Proposition 15 is an increased commercial property tax for educational funding. So this is saying that any commercial building that's over $3 million in value, they're gonna raise the property tax. Not residential, only commercial. So the people for it are saying, you know, like companies like Disney and companies like Chevron or these big companies, they're paying the same property tax as they did when they first bought the land. I mean, 30, 50 more years ago. And it needs to be reassessed. You know, they need to pay the property tax for what it's worth now. I mean, we're talking millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that this could bring in, and it would go towards the schools. It would go towards the city. The people against it are saying, yeah, but if you do this, most companies are gonna leave California. I don't know. Proposition 16 says it's a repeal to Prop 209 to allow affirmative action. I really think the key is the youth, which is why I like the property tax one, because property taxes go back into schools rather than just teaching kids history, English, math. You know, save that for a little bit later. Make a kid's foundation from like kindergarten, first grade, teaching them about like not being a perfectionist or more like therapy based, teach them to feel love. You know, there's when you're 30 and you finally go to like a therapist to deal with all the shit that happened to you when you were a kid, let's teach them that stuff early. All right, Proposition 17 allows parolees the right to vote. So in our country, every state has the right to choose how they want to handle this. And there's quite a few states that actually let people in prison locked up the right to vote. But in California, you have to be free, you have to be out. So the people voting yes for this are saying, as soon as you are even on parole, you should have that right restored to you. And the people saying no to this are saying, no, that's way too soon. You have to be fully free, fully rehabilitated before you're granted that right. Personally, I say let them vote. You know, most of this stuff is systemic. There's way too many people locked up in prison for even non-violent crimes, but even some of the violent crimes are for systemic reasons. Their voices aren't heard, they don't feel empowered. They need people in office that reflect what they're going through, who they are as a culture. We need to grant them that power, that embodiment, you know. My alarm's ringing. I gotta go give Eden a bath. Proposition 18 grants some 17-year-olds the right to vote in primaries. I love this proposition on this ballot. It reminds me of The Breakfast Club when with Anthony Michael Hall and Emilio Estevez is looking in his wallet and says, "Why do you have a fake ID?" And he says, "So I can vote."
This is the worst fake ID I've ever seen. You realize you made yourself 68?
I know. I goofed it.
What do you need a fake ID for?
So I can vote.
Hey, get out of here. What are you doing, squirting me? Get out of here. What are you doing? Keep that water in there, Trinkle Buns. Yeah, man, look, if a 17-year-old wants to vote, they're probably more equipped to do it than some of these knuckleheads that are out at the booth right now. You know, like, a 17-year-old that wants to vote is probably like looking into it, is aware, concerned, wants to be heard. I'm telling you, there's some knuckleheads I'm gonna see tomorrow that should have their voting rights taken away before these kids. So if a 17-year-old wants to vote, I support you. Eden does too. I shouldn't put words in her mouth. I don't know. Maybe she does. Maybe she's saying, no, don't let them vote. Don't let them vote. Oh no, don't let them vote. I don't want to vote. I want to vote. All right, we're back. Proposition 19 changes certain property tax rules. Basically, this allows anyone over the age of 55 to keep the same property tax on their current home if they buy a new one of equal or less value. So this is great if someone is older and they need to downsize and they want to move to be closer to family or friends, and they're not going to be necessarily penalized. If they bought the home, let's say 30 years ago for like $100,000, but now it's worth $1 million. If they sell it and buy something new for, let's say, $900,000, they can keep that same property tax from when they bought it 30 years ago. The reason people don't like it is because they're saying it's kind of a loophole for wealthy people. Proposition 20 reclassifies certain crimes and expands the DA collection. So this is a tricky one. It's basically saying firearm theft, vehicle theft, and unlawful use of credit cards. They want to make these three violations called wobblers. And they want to be able to give prosecutors and the DA the right to sentence them as a felony or a misdemeanor. They want to give them the right to choose. The people against this are saying that's not cool. All you're going to do is fill up the prisons with a bunch of people doing non-violent crimes. Although it seems like firearm theft is a pretty violent crime. So, all right, Proposition 21, rent control overhaul. This is a big one in real estate these days. Landlords don't like it because, for obvious reasons, they want to be able to change the rent as much as they seem fit. The problem with this is that LA real estate renting is really, really expensive, and a lot of people are on fixed incomes and they need stability with that rent control. The reason people feel like this shouldn't go into effect is because it's going to keep people from wanting to build here, and we have a huge housing crisis. We need more developers coming in, and if they feel rent control is going to get in the way, they're not going to be as interested. Proposition 22 classifies rideshare and delivery drivers as contract workers. So this is basically for Uber, for Lyft, anyone, Postmates, anyone that uses a driving delivery app to make their wages. The people that are for this are saying, let's make them employees, let's give them benefits, let's give them hourly wages. But the people against it are saying, no, we'd rather be independent contractors and have the flexibility to do what we want, when we want, how we want.
Dad, I didn't even know trick-or-treating is like now.
I didn't know those things. right, what we got? Okay, Proposition 23, dialysis clinic requirements. So this is basically going to make dialysis clinics have more doctors on staff. It's going to make them have better testing. It's going to make them be a stronger, more efficient facility. The pros for this are obvious. Let's do it. It's going to make it better. The negatives, the people against it are saying, yeah, but you're going to have to raise the prices if you do this, and it's going to make people not want to use the facility. Proposition 24, consumer data privacy protections. So this is when, you know, you have an app and you tell them you don't want them to share your private information. The pros are saying, this is great, let's do it. They're going to have stronger restrictions and regulations. But the people against this are saying, pause, this is not what you think. It still gives big corporations power that you're not aware of because of loopholes. So do more info, do your due diligence. Proposition 25, eliminate the cash bail system or go back to it. So as you know, when someone goes to jail, you can bail them out. And the people want to get rid of this. They want to, instead of being able to come in and put down cash or bail bondsman to bring someone out of jail until they go to trial, they want to have like an algorithm that randomly selects who can be released on for bail. The people against this say the algorithm is a little bit flawed and it's going to be racially biased. So another one that you should do due diligence and check out. All right, guys, thanks so much. I hope that helps. Don't forget, get out there and vote. Have a great night and happy Halloween!
You were scared, weren't you?
I wasn't that scared.
You were scared.